back block, and that's
guy that throws his body around.
Mike Drop Sports. Steel City Live.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Steel City Live here on Mike Drop Sports. Appreciate you for diving in here yet another day with us. What's up, Zach Curry? What is up, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights? What's up, Scott Chafin? Good to see you guys in the chat early. Make sure you're hitting that like, share, subscribe, all that good shit here on Steel City Live, only here on Mike Drop Sports. We truly, truly appreciate you as we dive in yet on another day of the week, man. A Tuesday as the Pittsburgh Steelers start mandatory mini camp sessions without their star defensive player, their franchise player in TJ Watt. He is absent and he wants a bag, man. He wants that bag. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers, his first day with the Pittsburgh Steelers here, and what he had to say during his first media availability session. And I got to say, I loved it. He ain't going to take some of them stupid questions that they ask. And I'm not knocking anybody in the media because they're restricted on a lot of things that they can do. No doubt about that. They have a very tough job, but I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers ain't going to play stupidity, man. He's not going to play dumb games. He's not going to play stupid games because he doesn't want to win stupid prizes. So, yeah, it is what it is. And we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk about his media availability and what he did at practice, which was basically absolutely nothing. But that is what it is. And here we are. Here we are, man. Here we are. Hey, Zah, you're at work, man. Hey, man. Hopefully you'll get to catch some of it. But good to see you, man. Thank you for stopping by. What's up, Steve Winters in the chat? What's up, Jason? Hope all is well, my friend. I'm ready for a damn good show. You're right, Steve. We're about to have a damn good show. What is up, Miss Pittsburgh? Waving that terrible towel for Miss P. What's up? My Floyd is Pink 79 in the house. What's up, Big Nick Winters? Good to see you, man. What's up, Big JD in the house? What's up, JD? Good to see all of you guys. What's up, Metalhead? 7757 Robert Road in the house. What's up? They will get TJ signed. No worries at all. Yeah, I believe that to be true too, and a lot of people have talked around and talked about several different options that they could have with T.J. Watt, and we'll try to explore those as they're brought up here, I'm sure, on the show tonight, and I'll give you my 2 cents about that. And I'm on board with Robert. I think they'll get it done. Roberta Campbell, what is up? Good to see you guys. But we are caught up in the chat there, so again, good to see all of you. Make sure you're hitting that like button and definitely putting your comments into the chat so we can have some discussions about what you guys are feeling after the first days of mandatory mini camp sessions and the Pittsburgh Steelers embark on this journey. This is the start of this journey. This day right here. The first day of mandatory sessions. You know, they have the voluntary stuff, they have the private workouts, they have the guys lingering around the facility in the off season. There's the draft in the off season, but today culminates every single year. The first day of mandatory session culminates that start, that beginning, that kickoff per se of the season for this team. And this is really where it starts with their development and everything else. And it's very important. And I understand it's football and shorts. I'm not a big fan of that, but this is very important on what's going to happen from now on out. The chemistry is going to be built. The camaraderie, just jacking around with guys in the locker room and getting that sense of how everybody's going to act with each other. The leaders starting to step in, all of that good stuff. So you know, there's a lot that goes on, man. Not just practice, but a ton of other stuff. Charles B, what's up? Hello from Atlanta. Um, here, Steelers are talking to I hear Steelers are talking to the Falcons about Michael Pitts. Yeah, it could happen. I don't see it happening but maybe it does. Maybe it does. And until these players are on the team, it's just one of those things. And just a lot of speculation. Would Kyle Pitts add a ton to this building? If you're the to that building, if you're the Steelers, absolutely. He's a monster. So yeah, maybe that would be really cool if it happened. Steve Winters signed TJ to one more good contract and let him retire as Steeler. And I can see why you say it, man. He's a guy that's been a leader in that building, a guy that's been highly productive, a guy that's meant so much to that football team. But if you look at 2024, and he had his worst year statistically. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're looking at TJ Watt, and he played every single game in 2024, and he had his worst year ever playing all 17 games. Now, he was, guys, and I got to warn a lot of people, and I don't think a lot of people even realize it. TJ Watt was beat up at the end of last year. When he was in those final 4 or 5 games, I don't know how he's even playing. I just don't. I really don't even know how he's playing. He was beat up pretty good. But it is what it is. He did. He dug deep. He played, but he had 7 tackles inside of those last 4 games, 0 sacks. He did lead the league in six forced fumbles. Those are usually game changers, guys. But the Steelers last year offensively were anemic yet again. They weren't able to capitalize off a lot of those turnovers. They were better offensively than they had been in recent years, but still not to an NFL level, to an NFL standard. And guys, we got to face it in today's football world. I don't care what level it's at. The pass game is so important. That's what everything's based off of. And if you're not prime in the pass game, you're just stuck in the mud, man. Yeah, you got to be able to run the football, and every good team is able to run the football really, really well. That's a fact. That has to be the basis, no doubt about it. But you got to put some effort into this pass game, man, in terms of route combinations. You heard Aaron Rodgers today talk about Darnell Washington. He hasn't seen a guy like that since Mercedes Lewis, and that is super high praise for some of you young fans that don't know who Mercedes Lewis is. That's super high praise for Darnell Washington to be compared to that by a guy like Aaron Rodgers that's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So to get compared to Mercedes Lewis is really encouraging for all of us that have been wanting and wishing and wondering where Darnell Washington has been. He's been non-existent inside of the pass game. But Aaron Rodgers seems to really want to utilize him. And I got to say this, you better look for Darnell Washington to be involved this offseason in a big way and hopefully into the season and gain Aaron Rodgers' trust here throughout the offseason here and throughout the summer. What's up, Tyler? Good to see you, man. Good to see all of you guys. Again, make sure you're hitting that like button. We truly, truly appreciate that. We're going to continue to dive through your comments here on Steel City Live. Continue to talk about TJ Watt, his contract, and what that means for the Steelers. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers again and what he had to say at minicamp and a ton of stuff, man. Steve Winters, or Roberta, sorry. Rodgers is quarterback one this year, 2026. I see Mason and Will 2026, probably a quarterback competition or just Will number one and Mason number two. I think you might throw somebody else in there also, Roberta. I think they move up. But here's the thing. If Aaron Rodgers can give the Steelers a little insight onto whether or not Will Howard is somebody that has potential, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to recognize that. He did say today, which I'm very shocked by, and I only believe it to be true because he's in the last really year of his career. He wants to give Will everything he's got in terms of knowledge, and hopefully he'll be able to give insight to the Steelers franchise as to whether or not they should roll with Will Howard, and that may potentially change the draft in 2026 drastically for the Steelers, and they focus on other positional groups and have that confidence in Will Howard moving forward in 2026. So this is going to be a wild ride, guys, and there's going to be a ton of speculation from now until the end of the year, now until the next draft on the future of the quarterback situation. But I got to say, I think there is some good that comes from Aaron Rodgers being here. Yeah, we can look at the negatives, but the time for looking at the negatives are kind of over now. We've talked about them, but let's start to look at the good. And Aaron Rodgers can provide Will Howard with some tremendous knowledge. So hopefully that does happen. He did say that today in his media availability that that was something he really wanted to do. Steve Winters, that's what was confusing about last year because the first half of the year the defense was lights out. I don't know what the f happened. I think it's just you know a natural progression of things. Offenses figured them out. They are predictable, just like they are offensively predictable. They're defensively predictable, also, my friends. T.J. Watt doesn't move around. Alex Highsmith doesn't move around. The linebackers don't really move around. There's no zone blitzing schemes whatsoever to speak of. They're not trying to mix things up. Mike Tomlin believes rushing 3, 4 guys on a steady basis without being exotic in any type of look is going to get the job done, and that's just not to be true. It's not true, and they are again very, very predictable, and that's why a lot of you wonder why they're so lights out at the beginning of the season and then fall off the map. It's because they are not exotic. They don't change. They don't mix things up. Mike Tomlin comes from an old school brand of football to where he wants to pound it down your throat, and that's it. He's not going to change. They are who they are. They're not going to adapt. And in my opinion, I think he needs to be a little bit more flexible with that this year. And I think he may with Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers can still sling it, my friends, and get the ball around. And then you look at TJ Watt, who openly said he's willing this offseason to figure out how to get him more involved defensively in terms of moving him around as a chess piece. And hopefully Mike Tomlin takes that and starts to implement some of the things the Steelers used to do by bringing pressure from different locations, utilizing their skill sets from several different players around that defense, and try to create some real chaos and bring that zone fire blitz scheme from the Dick LeBeau days back. And I'm not saying you need to do it exactly that way. I'm not saying that. I'm just using it as an example. You need to be able to bring pressure from different locations. You need to be able to get guys blitzing off the edge from the slot corner position. You need to get safeties coming down blitzing like you saw Troy Polamalu back in the day. You need to get guys just involved and allow them to play football and use those football instincts that they've grown up with all of their life. Nick Winters, I'm not sure about Kyle Pitts. He seems to have underperformed. But again, it might be how they used him. If we could get him and, he could turn out to be what he's supposed to be. Yeah, and I think a lot plays into it. The city you're in, the environment, the coaching switches that they've had, but he's been under Arthur Smith before. Arthur Smith drafted him. So maybe maybe Arthur can't get it out of him. I don't know. That's the big thing, Nick, and that's the troublesome part of it. But again, there's tons of factors, man. The franchise itself, there's so many things that come into play with the growth of NFL players. I've never been an NFL player, so I don't know the struggle. But from an outsider's view, there's tons of things that go into this, and hopefully, maybe sometimes a change of pace does change how a player performs. Or change of scenery, rather. Steve Winters, when's Lazard going to join the Steelers? That's Rodgers' boy. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe it does, but it is Aaron Rodgers' boy. You're right about that, Steve. But I don't believe he joins. Guys, I got to tell you, everybody all of a sudden is on this Roman Wilson train, and I'm not just ready to fully commit just yet because I heard too many things last year. The injuries bothered me. The lack of knowledge. He didn't do himself no favors with working his way and finding a way to get on the field by being really highly involved in the playbook, understanding what he needs to do. And I heard that from more than one person. I'm sure where there's smoke, there's fire there. So I'm not fully committed to Roman. I think he has tremendous potential to be really, really good. So I'm hoping that he ends up doing it. And people are saying that they're really excited about it. But, we heard that last year about Roman Wilson. We heard that a lot about DeMarvin Leal last year, how he was running so fast sideline to sideline. His closing speed was crazy, and he was just everywhere making plays. But they failed to tell you that was in fucking shorts and a jersey and a helmet. they're again, that's why you can't put too much stock into some of these things. You take what you can get out of it and you leave it. You can't anoint somebody. You can't say somebody sucks. It's just one of those things that it is what it is. You're just hoping for everybody to come out healthy and hoping that everybody comes out with a better understanding schematically. That's what these things are about. They're implementing those game plans in terms of what they want to be, their identity, the schematics, the base foundation of the schematics moving forward into 2025. And that's what you want to take away from mandatory minicamp sessions. That this is the phase one of the install, guys, for the game plan, for what they want to be. And that's what you really want to take away from these sessions is hopefully everybody's gaining knowledge and all that good stuff. I hadn't heard that. That's good to know. That's from Roberta. She must have been referring to Rodgers. Robert Road, the Steelers don't have that messed up schedule of Philadelphia, Baltimore, and home against the Chiefs in a span of 11 days. That stretch ended our Steelers last year. Yeah, absolutely. All major contenders inside of the NFL in terms of playoff teams. Yeah, that was a difficult road to travel. Very difficult. And I'm sure that took a tremendous toll on this football team. But to be really, really good and to be Super Bowl champions, you got to learn how to deal with that adversity. And you can't make excuses with it if you're the Steelers. I understand what Robert's saying, and I agree with it. And I think it did have some sort of effect. But if the Steelers want to reach their goals, they got to learn to deal with those situations. They got to learn to be able to dig deep and minimize the damage, and understand that you're in a difficult stretch, but you got to minimize the damage, come out as healthy as you possibly can. You got to have a little luck on your side, and you got to have a little bit of fight and want to battle through those difficult situations. And I'm hoping the 2025 Steelers are able to figure that out. Roberta Campbell, I think the defense got wore out with the offense not on the field enough. Yeah, I'm sure that came into play, no doubt. I'm sure it was some sort of issue with it, no doubt about it. Craig Werlow and house, what's up, Craig? If you stay basic, the coordinators around the league will figure you out, and that's why the Steelers got their ass pounded. No Diddy. I can agree with that. I love that, Craig. Nick Winters, I forgot Arthur Smith was the one who drafted him. His rookie season was the best year so far. Yeah, maybe that. I don't know his career, so Nick, I'll trust you on that one, buddy. I don't know exactly what years he's done what. I have to dive in, but when people aren't Steelers, it's like I don't deep dive. I need to though if it's a possibility of getting him. Roberta asked the question: do you think if Rodgers helps get the team to a Super Bowl and gets a Super Bowl win, that Tomlin might retire? I don't know. I think Tomlin's a young guy. He started coaching very, very young in terms of being a head coach in this league. So it's really hard to tell. I think Tomlin is going to end up eventually probably end up being the longest tenured head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers ever. And that's saying something with Chuck Noll. So maybe we'll see what happens. I doubt it, but here's the thing with Mike Tomlin. Aaron Rodgers only came here, he said, because of Mike Tomlin and the relationship that he had with him. So I got to trust in that. That Aaron's ultra comfortable with Mike, regardless of the reasoning. I got to trust that that's a good thing. And I got to trust that Mike, hopefully, is going to figure out how to adapt and change a little bit this season and start to, maybe morph into something a little bit different here later in his coaching career. And I think that's very important for Mike Tomlin to start to adapt to today's game in a little bit better way. Steve Winters, the verdict is definitely still out on Roman Wilson. Hopefully he will work out. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Craig Werlow, thank God for you, Big B and Big G, because 93.7 really sucks anymore. Well, thank you, man. And I'm sure Brian and I'm sure Sean appreciate those kind words too, Craig. We appreciate you guys stopping in and joining us every day. And I know they do very much, and I know I do very much. Definitely a good group of guys over there. And yeah, definitely good places to come to get truthful stuff. And we're going to shoot it to you straight. You're not going to get those things, the clickbait. You're not going to get the bullshit. You're not going to get the drama filled stuff. You're going to get straight real football talk. And I'm glad you guys enjoy it, and I'm glad you guys enjoy those guys over there at Almighty. I definitely do too. Craig, I think Tomlin wants the most win record, which isn't a bad thing. No, we want him to strive for every record he can break, man. Mike Tomlin can break good records, records that are, good to break. You don't want him breaking any of the bad ones, but, any record he can break, more power to him, man. I hope Mike does a little soul searching, does a little changing, and adapts a little bit, Brent says, "What's up, y'all? What's up, Brent?" And then he says, "Go Bills, they blow." You can't say your Bills suck, Brent. Good to see you, man. But anyway, make sure you guys are putting your comments, questions, and concerns inside of the live chat right here on Steel City Live, only on Mike Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason, as always, and I don't know what happened. Right before I got on, I always look at our analytics page because I want to make sure I answer comments maybe that I didn't answer if I have time or things like that. We lost 3 subscribers. My Lord. See, that's why you don't talk politics on this show. We did the other day, and I didn't agree with somebody's politics, and they went ham, bro. That's why we don't do that. But make sure you're liking the show, sharing the show, all that good shit. Make sure you are becoming a Mic Drop Mafia member, and making sure you support the channel any way you find fit, hitting the like button, all that good stuff. We truly appreciate it. But TJ Watt, not attending mandatory sessions here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what does that mean for the Steelers, man? That means a lot. He's a big part. He's the franchise. And TJ Watt, what does that mean for him? He could be fined upwards of $105,000 by not attending the 3 days of mandatory minicamp as he now digs in and he's entrenched into this. Dispute over his salary. He's only due to make $21.5 million, finishing up a $112 million contract given to him by the Pittsburgh Steelers the last time he was in contract negotiations. And I want to remind you guys, this is going to end up similar to that situation. The Steelers don't make these superstar deals early in the offseason, guys. They don't. They let this thing roll. They continue to monitor their cap situation. They continue to make additions when they can. They don't strap themselves by making these deals bright and early in the offseason. And I don't blame them. It doesn't make sense. And TJ Watt, regardless if he's at minicamp or whatever, is going to be ready for the season. So we know that's going to be the case. The guy knows the defense. He knows the building. He knows the team. So it doesn't matter. But for TJ Watt, this is going to end up being the exact same thing that happened last time. It's going to come down to the wire. TJ's going to get sick of dealing with it. He's going to go in and they're going to get a deal done, and that's going to be it. I look for it to be $42.5 million, somewhere in that range, right around $42 to $43 million per season. I look for him to be slightly above Myles Garrett, and rightfully so. He's better than Myles Garrett. In my opinion, I think he's a better teammate. I think he's better everything in my eyes. But the Cleveland Clowns reset the market with Myles Garrett, paying him $40 million per season. So justly, TJ Watt deserves more than 21 and a half. He's better than Myles Garrett. And the Clowns just continue to do these stupid things and reset the market tremendously high. They did it with the quarterback salary with Deshaun Watson, and they did it yet again with Myles Garrett. They set the standard with some of this stuff over the last handful of seasons. So, thank the Clowns. The Steelers, though, should have thought about this 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and they could have got TJ locked up for $36.5 million. And that's reality. And I hate to break it to Steeler fans, but they could have did that and he could have been locked up for 4 years. And they wouldn't be having this conversation right now with TJ Watt. But, instead, they waited and they waited and they waited. And now they waited to the final hour. And here we are with TJ Watt, a guy that's 30 years old now, a guy that came off a season that was his lowest statistical season in terms of playing all the regular season games. Every time he's played all the regular season games in a season, last year was his lowest total, and 11 and a half sacks, no sack, or 11 and a half sacks, 6 forced fumbles. That was his bright spot. But over those last 4 games, he was non-existent, only 7 tackles, and that was not good, man. Roberta says 2026 draft. Will Sean? I don't know. I haven't talked to Sean in a while, man. Sean's had a lot going on with his kid and work and stuff. So hopefully, we'll get Sean back involved. Hopefully, he can come. That would be really, really cool. Beer in mind, lost respect. Every man should honor their contract. I get it. I get you, beer in mind. Um, or bear in mind, sorry. Um, I don't know if I'm saying it right. I don't know, but I'm trying, buddy. You always come in, and I'm sorry. I hate if I'm mispronouncing what you have up there. But anyway, I agree. Men should honor their commitments. But here's the real situation: it's the last year of his deal. The market's been reset. He'll play probably, if they don't figure out a deal. But maybe he holds out. I don't know, but I agree with you. People should do that, but $21.5 million is a lot of freaking money, man. That's a damn good amount of money. But still, we'll see. We'll see what TJ Watt does, and he probably does deserve to be paid higher than Miles Garrett. That's for sure. Craig Werlow, are you concerned that TJ didn't come in because his last contract he had to sit in? No, I'm not, because again, Craig, I think this is going to end up exactly the same way as it did the last time these contract negotiations were brought up with TJ Watt. Brent, with all the turnover on offense, what's the ceiling for the Steelers? I think the Steelers could win a Super Bowl. I really do. And I think it could go the complete other way. I think they could be absolute dog shit. I think it's going to be a real roll of the dice. What Aaron Rodgers do you get in 2025? Do you get the Aaron Rodgers that's a gunslinger back there that takes command of the offense, that fits really well inside of the offense? What are the Steelers asking Aaron Rodgers to do? Are they asking him to be Superman? Or are they asking him just to be steady Eddie and manage the game and move this offense and no need to put up 500 points a game, just to come in and average that 24, 25 points a game total and lean on the defense when you have to? Again, what are they asking him to do? That's going to be the big situation there. But the most important part is, how does this young offensive line grow? Do they become more consistent? Do they become one of the better units on this football team? And I think the answer has to be yes, in order for them to do what I thought, maybe go far in the playoffs, win the damn thing. Nothing's more magical and nothing's a better story than a guy late in his career, especially at the quarterback position, walking off and winning one, man. I think that's all that Aaron Rodgers has on his mind. I think last year, at the end of the year, he finally got healthy and he started to play good ball. 28 and 11, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year, playing for a really shitty New Jersey Jets franchise. In my eyes, one of the worst franchises in the NFL with how they run things. That's just from me looking at it as a fan. But Aaron Rodgers realizes that coming to the city of Pittsburgh, where there's such a great sports legacy, where there is such great fans, there is a city that wraps their arms around you when you win ball games, and an organization that prides themselves on being known for the city of champions, being known for a six-time Super Bowl winners. I think this all comes to play into a great story, and the NFL loves great stories. So I don't find it far fetched, man, for the Steelers to rip one off here, in a rando year, man. Aaron Rodgers in his last year going for it all. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Do I find it likely? No. But stranger shits happen, man. We saw Tom Brady go down to Tampa and win a Super Bowl. So we know it can be done later in your career. We know that it can happen. And again, maybe the stars are aligning for Aaron Rodgers here in 2025. But I think the offensive turnover has been good for the Steelers. I think it hasn't been as tremendous as a lot of people want. Well, I guess it has. You moved on from Najee Harris, but you still have Jalen Warren, a guy that was in there last year. That was your second running back. Now moves to probably the lead dog position with Caleb Johnson and Kenneth Gainwell. That should be a great three-headed monster there. You move into the DK Metcalf era after getting rid of George Pickens. So, yeah, there's tremendous turnover, but definitely we'll see what happens. But I think that the ceiling could be very high, but I think it could blow up in their face too. All right, guys, I'm going to get a sip of coffee. Make sure you guys are cracking the shit out of that like button. Beat it up like you own it, and make sure you're sharing the show. It's very easy, and it's the best way to support the channel. No doubt about it. Armand says Steelers strapped themselves a year ago not doing a new deal, period. He has to be there to learn LeBeau 30, 3-4 defense. Uh, yeah, they should have made a deal definitely a while ago. No doubt about that, Armand. Craig Werlow, I think it was a mistake they didn't do a TJ contract last year. I think it cost them an extra, but yeah, it definitely cost them probably 5 million for sure. I think it cost them closer to probably 7. I would say more of the latter part of your comment. Roberta, no doubt TJ's better than Miles. Hell, the Browns always reset the market with stupid deals. They do. They really do, man. TJ will honor his contract no matter what. I don't know, Roberta. I might disagree with that one. I don't know. I really don't know. If I were a betting man and the Steelers don't want to do business, I wouldn't be surprised if TJ Watt didn't sit out at least the front part of the season. I would not be shocked about it. TJ did just have a baby this time around, so his life is different, but I believe he will be there. Yeah, you're true. His life is vastly different right now than it was a few years ago. Robert Road, I say the floor is 9-8 and the ceiling is 13-4 for the Steelers in 2025. The roster is very much improved, no doubt, man. Malachi Smith, I see a potential underdog story happening. I feel Rodgers can get us a playoff win at the minimum. Then next year, we let Will Howard apply all he learned from Rodgers and be our next Big Ben. Malachi, that's the perfect story. What you wrote there is the perfect story. And that's hopefully what the Steelers want to have happen. Craig Werlow, would you rather Steelers trade for a number 2 wide receiver or sign someone like Keenan Allen? I would prefer them to make a trade for somebody that's a steady presence in the wide receiver room. One of the guys from Green Bay, something like that. It doesn't have to be a massive name. It doesn't have to be a massive contract. You don't need to go out there and make stupid moves and give away tremendous value in terms of draft capital and financial contracts and things of that nature. You don't need to do that. I think you can find somebody via trade or maybe go out into the free agency market and find somebody steady. I don't know. They tried to bring Gabe Davis in. The guy isn't going to be a Steeler. He can't pass a physical. He isn't going to play probably in 2025, maybe later in the season, perhaps when injuries happen and maybe he can become healthy. But there is something teams do not like um, about his physical, and I don't look for that to change anyway anytime soon. Hey, Wall, what's up, man? Good to see you. Yinzer Nation from Nick Winters. Roberta Campbell, Craig, I would not. They already traded for Metcalf and paid him huge money. They will get a wide receiver. Um, yeah, I mean they're gonna have to if they really want to get anybody young, exciting. They're gonna have to make a trade. The guys that are left on the market are guys that have been nicked up, been in the league. Might demand a little bit more money than the Steelers want to pay. I don't know. There's a lot of factors I think with some of these guys that are still sitting on the market. But again, I think the Steelers are highly confident in guys like Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin. I think they're highly confident in a veteran Robert Woods. I think they are confident in Darnell Washington because Aaron Rodgers seems to think Darnell Washington can do some really special things. And again, they compared him. Aaron Rodgers compared Darnell Washington to somebody that is a real compliment. Mercedes Lewis, one of the best tight ends I've watched play football in quite some time. And some of you younger fans might not know him, but he compared him to him, and that might be a good thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll see exactly what's going on, no doubt. But the Steelers do have weapons. I think they're definitely thrilled about Pat Fryermuth. Hell, even Connor Hayward got a good comment from Aaron Rodgers in terms of something that he did today in the mandatory minicamp sessions. There's a lot that goes into this, but you know, the Steelers are all in, man. I really truly believe that. And I think this roster has gotten tremendously better, like Robert said. I do. I think some of the subtractions, some of the moves that they made, made this roster even better because I think Najee Harris, it was his time to move on, regardless of what people like, don't like about Najee. He's not here, and he's now with the Chargers, and I just think it was time. I don't think that they were going to be able to progress in Arthur Smith's system with Najee Harris any longer. I think they went out and made a tremendous move by drafting Caleb Johnson, a guy that I had no thoughts in the world that he would have been there come round three, but he was, and that was a bingo hit for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. So we'll see what happens, but I think the Steelers are very confident in a lot of the moves that they made this offseason. And as somebody that talks about it every day, I think I'm highly confident with a lot of the moves they made. AWOL, we can't go in there confident. We need to know. I get you, man. But football's freaky, man. Football is freaky. You may think you know something, it changes just like that. Football isn't something that is full of guarantees. Let's be real. It's a violent game that's full of injuries and full of twists and turns, AWOL. So you need to have confidence. You need to have potential. You need to have high hopes for people. And sometimes, again, you need to be lucky. And that's what football is. And that's why a lot of us love football because there are so many twists and turns throughout a season. There are so many different things that could happen and really change this thing up. Craig Werlo, would you look for a former Green Bay DB Alexander? I think he's still on their team. I don't think he's a former Craig. I'm not sure though. But here's the thing. I don't see the Steelers adding cornerbacks. I don't see them adding any other positions besides a weapon for Aaron Rodgers in terms of an offensive weapon. That could be a tight end, a wide receiver, what have you. That's really about what I think their main concern is right now, or offensive line depth if that is possible. I think that that's what happens. But I don't see them adding a cornerback or anybody like that. Mark Malone, he's so optimistic. He says 15-2. I hope so. AWOL, oh, he's agreeing about the comment. Okay. Yeah, AWOL, that's just what I think about it. I love the confidence, but I agree. You need to know some things, but man, it's so hard. And if you play ball, when you're a part of a team. There are just so many twists and turns, and you have people that you think are good ball players, but they're not going to start. They're going to come in here and there, but all of a sudden, you're 3 weeks into them starting, and you're trying to figure out creative ways to make them better ball players and guys that you never thought in a million years would be your starter, but they are because of injuries, because of different things that have happened throughout your season, and it's just a game full of just such uncertainty, man. Oh, they cut him yesterday? Well, then maybe they do, Craig. If it's a guy like that that's available, I thought they would have to trade for him. I don't see him trading for anybody. Maybe they pick up some people like that off of the free agency market, off of the scrap heap. But why did they cut him? That's the question, Craig. When you look at players that are recently cut, here's the real thing fans need to do before you think like, oh, nope, that's a good name, and that's how a lot of fans think of things. They'll say, that's a big name. I've heard that name before. The Steelers should get him. You got to look at why he was cut. And you got to dive deep into it. Don't just believe the first thing that you hear. Deep dive into why that player was cut. And there's going to be usually some real reason that's probably going to scare the next team off, or make a potential union with that player a little bit shaky and a little bit uncertain, So you want to know why. AWOL, do you think Roman Wilson is better than Amari Cooper? Probably not right now because Roman Wilson, this is the thing, AWOL. I've seen Amari Cooper do it at a high level. He's a fucking dog, I've seen that cat do it, and I haven't seen Roman Wilson do it yet. So until I see that dog and Roman Wilson out there making big plays, getting it done, I'm not going to sit here and say he's better than Amari Cooper or anything like that. because being proven matters to me, man. And being unproven, you got to make it happen. Yeah, your potential and what you show in practice and your work ethic gets you the opportunity potentially. And hopefully that's what Roman Wilson is doing, getting that opportunity, gathering enough reps, gathering enough of the support inside of that building to get the opportunity. And I think he has. But until he proves that production and really shows us, we'll just have to wait and see. But as of right now, no. Craig Orlow, just as long as the Ravens or Bengals don't get him, yeah, no doubt. I agree. I agree, Craig. Mark Malone says dude has been injured as you know what. Well, that's a problem, and that's what I just said. Mark, you got to find out why these players were cut, and if injuries are a major concern, do you want to bring that headache in? And can he pass a physical? You saw just Gabe Davis last Thursday come into the building and get a physical. He wouldn't have left the building if he would have been able to pass that physical. They would have signed him, but he couldn't pass the physical. So again, I've told people this on this podcast many times, on this show, Still City Live, that the city of Pittsburgh with the university hospitals, I know I've worked in them, have some of the best doctors in the entire world, and that's no exaggeration. And if you're not going to pass a physical there, there's something going on. Those people know exactly what they're doing. And I'm not saying they're getting, from UPMC or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the Pittsburgh area has world class doctors. And I'm still sure the Steelers with Doc Bradley and all that team, I'm sure they're world class too, because I've seen it in action down there in the city. So, yeah. That's a big thing. If the guy's an injury bug that's constantly with him, it's not probably very appealing. Steve Winters very very excited to see how this offseason is going to look. Hey man, this offense is going to look. I agree, Steve. Me too, man. Let me get a drink, guys. But that's what I was talking about. I just thought this thought just popped into my head. What Mark said, dude is injured AF. And the comment I made before, most fans, and I'm not saying Craig did this, he's just bringing it up. Craig always talks good football, so I'm not saying anything bad about Craig. But I'm saying this, most fans, they see a big name and they don't know nothing else about that player. And they're just going to spit names out to spit names out. And they're going to bash the Steelers for not bringing that player in. When in reality, that guy's just run his course probably in the NFL. The injuries have mounted up, and you can't keep him healthy. And you're not willing to pay somebody, the $1 million plus, whatever, to be on the football team. That's a tremendous amount of money to invest in a player. You don't want a guy that's just going to be injury riddled. So a lot of fans, and again, I'm not saying anybody in particular in here. I'm just saying a lot of fans don't understand what goes into signing a player. They don't. Robert Roach, Jair Alexander wanted too much money for Green Bay. He is a good corner as well as a good punt returner. I don't think the Steelers would meet his price after they already paid for Slay this season. Yeah, and if that's a issue too, Robert, on top of the injury history, I don't know. I don't know enough about Jair Alexander. I'm going to need to take a deep dive into it. My initial gut check is the answer no. But again, I don't know enough about him. Craig says, seeing J.K. Dobbins signed with the Broncos today and Chubb with the Texans yesterday. Oh, wow. J.K. Dobbins still in the league. That's crazy. He's been a workhorse for the Ravens amongst other teams, so props to J.K. Dobbins still getting it done. And Nick Chubb, he's going to be a solid ball player wherever he goes, definitely. But I like what the Steelers have done. They got fresh legs in that building, and you're not bringing in anybody older or anything like that. Kenneth Gainwell, he has a little bit of experience, played on a Super Bowl team last year and comes in, but still has fresh legs, hasn't been beaten up and battered up, so that's a positive. He has that experience of a veteran that played with a Super Bowl winner and still still is fresh. Jalen Warren, yeah, he's battled some injuries, but still young and fresh. I know, I've seen the guy in person. The guy can fly, bro. Just to let you guys know, he's low to the ground. He's thick. He can fly, dude. He's a little wrecking ball. But then you look at Caleb Johnson, the guy that's going to come in and fit that system of Arthur Smith, the schematics of Arthur Smith, and hopefully, as a rookie, really do some big things and create a three-headed monster inside of the run game for the Steelers that instantly makes Aaron Rodgers way better, and it makes that offensive line way better too. AWOL, ESPN is thinking we're gonna trade TJ Watt for Scary Terry. What do you think? I think it's just clickbait, AWOL. Um, that's all I think. The Steelers aren't going to bring Terry McLaurin in on a trade because they're not going to pay another wide receiver $30+ million a year. They're just not going to do it. They're not going to have $60+ million per season wrapped up into that wide receiver room. They're just not going to. One thing is that the Steelers can bring in a top flight wide receiver, not a $30 million a year wide receiver, but Aaron Rodgers taking $13 million for the year is definitely a godsend for the Steelers because they signed Mason Rudolph to $8 million. So basically, they have around $21, $22 million this season wrapped up into that quarterback room here in 2025, and that's tremendous. And they've been able to manage that salary in that room for a couple seasons. But I think they are way better this year than they have been in recent past. They have young talent in there that has tremendous potential. They have a stable guy, Mason Rudolph, and they have the veteran, Aaron Rodgers, a guy that's won a Super Bowl, a guy that's done it at a high level, an all pro, future Hall of Famer. So I think they've made some definite upgrades there and managed to keep the salary low so they can go out and get somebody of value. It's just not going to be a $30 million a year guy. And when they do finally get TJ Watt signed, they're going to save another $9 million in terms of available cap space here. So that allows them to do something a little bit, maybe a little bit more than maybe they anticipated they could do. Every time there's cap space freed up, that gives them a little bit more room to make some splash trades or maybe make a splash pickup of some sort. So we'll see. Craig Werlow, I forgot, is minicamp 1 week or 2 weeks? It's 3 days, Craig. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then it'll be over. And then we'll have 5 weeks of misery, bro. Craig Werlow, yeah, we can't be Bengals paying two wide receivers like that. Steve Winters, bro, if they trade TJ, what's that gonna be? That's gonna be trouble. They better get a lot of number one draft picks. Yeah, I mean, if they traded him, they're going to get at least one number one and a grip of other picks. But I don't see it happening. I just don't. Wave that terrible towel for our resident Steelers fan, Miss P. Make sure you guys do that. Rob Lightfoot in the house, Jason. And Omar, we should trust. Pittsburgh will get another wide receiver before the season starts from Green Bay, Saints, or Jacksonville. I think they do too, Rob. I do trust Omar Khan's decisions, and I know they didn't get it last season. They ended up getting Mike Williams, but that's last season. I'm not even worried about it. But I think if I look at Omar Khan's overall body of work since he's been the general manager of the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's been a tremendous job. And anybody that looks at this roster currently, how it's constructed, they've reconstructed the trenches, which is the most important portion of the football team in totality when you look at it, in my opinion. It all starts with the big men. I think they've done a tremendous job there. They've brought in a steady presence throughout that quarterback room this season, not only with Aaron Rodgers, but Mason Rudolph, and they got a guy with potential in Will Howard. So they've definitely done some really good things. They've bolstered up the run game, in my opinion. They've made an addition by subtraction by getting rid of George Pickens, allowing some of those other young guys to step in and fill that role and perhaps go out and get somebody else like we speak of here with Rob's comment. I think they've done a tremendous job, and I definitely look at this roster and say to myself, at the end of the Kevin Colbert era compared to now, this roster is vastly better, no doubt about it. And I think they are in a far better spot in terms of what they have available to them in draft capital in 2026. They're in a financially responsible spot in terms of the cap space, and that's even with being able to sign big name players like TJ Watt. They'll still be in a good spot. So I think Omar Khan has done a tremendous job overall. And I think most fans only look at it in terms of a splash move, a big name. That's all they care about. And that's why the rumors and the bullshit start to be said or starts to be said about Omar Khan, that he's doing a bad job, this or that. It's by fans that are uneducated, and that's the truth. That's why you come to shows like this, Steel City Live, to get your daily dose. Hey, Wall, your answers be on point. When Mike Tomlin leaves, you got my vote for coach. Thank you, AWOL. I would love that, my friend. I'll make you an assistant, AWOL. I'll bring you in, babe. I appreciate that, AWOL. Thank you, man. I like your comments, too. I appreciate them. Mike, he's not going anywhere. Armand says Watt's worth a number one and a third round, a first round and a third round. Yeah, I don't know what Watt's value is because you don't get a superstar every day on the market, especially at the edge rusher position. It's not every day they become available. So it's going to be tremendous value in my opinion. So I'll agree with Armand. There's going to be some tremendous value there. I think it'd be more than a one and a third, but that's just my opinion. I don't know. Again, we'll see. And with the market just being reset by Myles Garrett, and you're looking at $40 million plus for an elite pass rusher, the status of T.J. Watt, teams are gonna have to think about that when you're paying a quarterback $50+ million per season. You're paying a wide receiver $30+ million per season. Then you throw on a $40+ million a year salary for an edge rusher. It starts to crunch your salary cap a little bit, man. And it's not just, oh, sign them. So we'll see. Hold on. Craig Warlow, don't know if it's true, but I heard Hayward put on some weight so he can be a fullback again, like at Michigan State. Guys, he's not a fullback, Craig. He might have put on weight though. That may be true. I don't know. I'm gonna wait until I see him in Latrobe to really see what he's put on because he's still got another 5 weeks after this to bulk up or to do whatever in terms of executing what he wants to do for 2025 in terms of his plan, but. Connor Hayward is not a fullback. He's more of an H-back, more of a hybrid. And I brought this up a long time ago, last summer. Connor Hayward better serves the Steelers in a Dallas Clark type role. That's what you would want to see from a guy like Connor Hayward. And I don't know if the Steelers are willing to do that with him. We'll see. And if Aaron Rodgers develops chemistry with him, you'll see him. And maybe you'll see him in that H-back type role. So who knows? I think it's going to depend on a lot this summer on how he runs those routes. How's his ability to run a lot of routes out of the route tree? How can he play in the slot? How can he play out of the backfield in a split backfield? Aaron Rodgers back there with two sidecars, one being Jalen Warren or one being Caleb Johnson, one being Connor Hayward, getting those guys out of the backfield after they chip. How does he catch passes out of the backfield? I think there's a ton of things you could do with him. Even putting him as a sidecar, running him up the seam, immediately, getting those first downs, attacking the middle with those linebackers, trying to create those mismatches. But let's face it, guys, he's only 6 foot tall. He's not huge. He's going to have a tough time figuring out how to carve a role for himself. And that's the real issue with him, Craig. And I love Connor. I wish him the best. I just don't see a fit really anywhere other than like a Dallas Clark type role, like that H back that you used to see with the Indianapolis Colts, Peyton Manning, Dallas Clark. Robert Road, unless it's a quarterback players 30 and over, don't command more than a number one pick. I don't know, Robert. I'm not big on the trade stuff. I don't know value like that. You may be right, bro. I don't know. I definitely think he gets a lot. He's TJ freaking Watt. He's a superstar. I don't see it being, crazy, crazy, but I still feel there's tremendous value there. But again, I think it's all mute point, to be real. I don't think it's going to happen. Robert says Connor has put on weight for fullback. Yeah, guys, I think you're all. and this is no disrespect to you guys. I just think you're all looking somewhere that it's not going to happen. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong and you're right, but um, we'll just have to wait and see how it all develops. And he may be in hopes of becoming that fullback, but I don't know, man. You know, the Steelers keep always doing this, man. Every year they say, "Oh, we're gonna bring in this fullback." Jack Coletto or whatever his name was a couple years ago, last year, the year before, big fullback. Everybody was talking about how the Steelers were going to keep him as fullback. They were going to do this. They end up cutting a guy a week later. They've done this so many times throughout the years, man. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it, guys. I don't see a fullback being utilized. I just don't. Armand says he's now 240, so they say. I don't know. I just heard Cam Hayward's podcast and somebody said 218 or 220 or so. I don't know. I don't know. Until I see those guys in person, it's hard for me to tell, man. I don't know. Hey, Wall, who did Big Ben throw six touchdowns against in 2016? Anyone remember without Googling it? Well, yes, Jason does. The Green Bay Packers. Actually, he had back-to-back, I believe, six touchdown games. I believe one against the Colts and one against the Packers. I believe. Google it. Double check me. He said he's up to 240. You guys are on at 240, so maybe that is true. If you guys are hearing 240 consistently, that's probably, accurate. Robert Rhodes says the coaches told him to put on the weight for more time at fullback. Yeah, maybe they did. I never heard that, so I don't know, Robert. You guys may be right, buddy. I don't know. Armand, the South Alabama guy is similar to Hayward. Yeah, I believe you're right. Yep. Is that DJ Thomas Jones or whatever? Craig Warlow, Ben did it twice, Colts and Ravens. It wasn't Ravens, Craig. It was Green Bay and Colts, I believe. I know it wasn't the Ravens for sure. The six touchdown game. He may have had a five touchdown game against the Ravens, but I know it wasn't a six touchdowns. I think it was a five touchdown game. I don't know. I know it was the Colts were one, I'm pretty sure, in Green Bay. Somebody Google that because now I'm curious. Hold on, I'm going to Google it so I know. But let's look this up. Trivia question of the day. Big Ben throws six TDs. Ben Roethlisberger, six TD games. Maybe you're right. If we'll see. He did. You're right, Craig. It was against the Ravens, so I stand corrected. Craig is right. One was the Colts, so I was right with the Colts. I thought it was Green Bay for some reason. But he had where was it? Ben Roethlisberger had one game played with 6+ touchdown passes versus the Ravens on November 2nd, 2014. Somebody else Google it. I'm trying to run the show too, and then I'm trying to look. Rob Lightfoot, let's read Rob's comment. So Craig was right. 6 touchdowns against the Ravens. That's what it says on November 2nd, 2014. Good job, Craig. Rob Lightfoot, TJ Watt pushed his middleman out of the way to get his last deal with the Steelers. I think he gets a deal done soon, 40 million plus. I hope, man. We'll see. Mark Malone, yeah, I don't see us and lining up in an eye or an offset eye. I don't either. I mean, I don't. But we could be wrong too, Mark. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see, guys, how Arthur Smith tries to utilize this stuff. Don't forget, you have Darnell Washington, too, that you can always throw back there. So why waste a roster spot on somebody when you have a guy like Darnell Washington that's fucking massive that can move, that's highly athletic. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what they do. Robert says not multiple number one picks is what I'm saying. Extra picks besides one number one pick, Colts. Yeah, I don't know. I think he would demand tremendous value. I don't know what that value would be. I don't, but we'll have to see. I don't think we'll see, but definitely would be interesting to see, no doubt. Wrong, the Ravens. Yeah, you guys are right. I was wrong on that one. But I had the Colts right. I thought the Colts were one. They're listed on this list. but it says he only had one. Maybe he threw 5 touchdowns against the Colts. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Here's a question for you without never mind. You guys will Google it. Mark Malone in the NFL, that is, nobody is anymore. Colts and Ravens. Robert said Colts and Ravens. AWOL says that it was the Ravens. Bed had a 5 touchdown and a 6 touchdown game against the Ravens. That's from Robert. Craig says won money on the Ravens game against the Ravens fan. He was pissed. Armand says if Rodgers is healthy with 11 wins and 2 playoffs, I think he would be here 2 years. Robert Rhodes says back-to-back games. Yeah, I thought they were back-to-back games, Robert. I thought that was true. I thought that was true. Fuck. Sorry, guys. My thing was all jacked up. But anyway. All right, guys, we're going to start wrapping it up. Another great show, man. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for, my friends. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here. Hopefully, I get to call J Hook and see where he's been. Maybe he'll come and produce a couple shows this week at some point if he's not busy. So we'll see what happens there. I still need to get a hold of Sean, too. I got a list of shit. I got so much stuff going on in my life, too. It's been a pain in the ass to get everything done, but we're moving along. We still got to redesign this whole damn thing back here and put up some walls to make the sound better. All right, one more question for Maywall. He says, can anyone name all 5 bird teams in the NFL? Hold on, bird team. Cardinals, that's 3. Bu- 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 Shit. I got 3. Falcons, Ravens, Cardinals. Falcons, Ravens, Cardinals. Falcons, Ravens, Seahawks. And the fifth one. The fifth one. The fifth one. Shit. Who's the fifth one? The fifth one. I don't know the fifth one. I know 4. I got 4 of them. I don't know the fifth one. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'm sure as soon as you say it, I'll be like, what the hell? Eagles! There! Shit! The easiest one out of them all. The last Super Bowl winner. Good deal, Craig. That was fun. You guys are going to have to come up with some more trivia questions. We'll have to put them up and shit. That's fun to do. But yeah, so the 5 bird teams: Falcons, Cardinals, Ravens, Seahawks, and Eagles. All the 5 teams as a bird in their mascot. So that's pretty cool. All right, guys, I'm going to bust up out of here, man. We truly, truly appreciate you guys. So thank you so very much for joining us. We always love you guys joining in and definitely supporting the show. You guys are absolutely awesome. So until tomorrow, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports and the show Steel City Live. A damn good show. An absolute damn good show.
Power takes the approach as a coach. Let's go. Let's go. It's a field back block, and that's